What's going on, people, and welcome to a brand new episode of Too Many Games and Not Enough Time. I'm your host with the most, the one and only Mr. Midas. Now, in Too Many Games, I get to talk to wonderful gamers across the globe about what they are playing. And when I say across the globe, I am talking across the globe, because today I have a Twitch streamer, the host of Just Chatting podcast, living down under, yes, them Aussie lifestyle. She doesn't believe in kangaroos, my G's. She thinks it is proper fake. Highly recommended, the one and only Mop Garden. Welcome to Too Many Games. How are you doing today?
Hi, great. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. We just spoke about my horrible morning, but we're not even going to get into that because we're here to talk about gaming. But before we get into gaming, I need to know, where did your name come from? Like, how did you get your name? Because it was one of the first points of discussion when we had a conversation. I was like, you want me to call you Mop? And you was like, yeah, that's my name.
Yeah, everyone does that. It's there's really no fun story. I literally was just like, I want something that's memorable. And I was like sitting down one day and I was just drinking coffee and my brain starts going like miles a minute when I drink coffee. I don't know if that's normal, and so I was literally just writing down every single like words that came to mind. And my brother came home and he was like, I like Mop Garden together. And I was like, all right, done.
Well, it's a random combination, but it's definitely not forgettable. Now, like I said, you are as far away from me as possible. You are living in Australia. You lot was locked down for a good long 8 months. So I know you've really been playing lots and lots of games. So we're going to get into that in a second. But first, I just want you to super briefly summarize to anyone who's never seen you before. They don't know about the Mop Garden. They don't know about this amazing Twitch streamer and her favorite games. If you just had to do a brief summary about yourself, who are you?
Yeah. So I'm a Canadian living in Australia. I've been full-time on Twitch for like 5 years. And I love first-person shooters, but Siege is like my main game, but I play like tons of weird indie games and stuff as well. Willing to play anything and everything for the most part.
Yeah, I see you there on Siege. Like, I was cracking up when you when you had your shield and you just licking someone on the head with the shield. Like, you had me in stitches. So
it's my favorite.
So we've had some time on our hands, and I think COVID's really been a great time to kind of play and experience games that you haven't before. Like, I feel like I'm not the big shooter guy. Like, I'm so much into narrative and I'm into stories and stuff like that. But I became majorly addicted to Apex. Like, I am the Apex guy. I'm out there getting them dubs. Like, it's a game that I would never really think that would grab me. What are some of the games that you were able to explore because you had this downtime?
Oh my gosh. Well, I actually just started playing Apex today, funny enough. My very first time ever.
Oh my goodness, we have to play. Gotta do some arenas.
I'm down. Apparently the ping actually isn't too bad, which is surprising to Australia. So that's good. But I've played so many games over the last like year because I love like quick like 6 hour, 7 hour kind of indie games. And so like I've played hundreds of games, but I think have you played Spiritfarer?
Haven't. Tell me about it.
It is so good. It's a little bit sad. It's like all about death sort of stuff, but you're like a person that like helps spirits transfer over to the other side sort of thing. And so like you are with them for the last little bit of their lives. And then you like help them and go over, and it's a really beautiful game, but you like have a ship that you go around and you like build like your own little town on your ship sort of stuff, and like raise cows and all this. It's a cute game.
That sounds, two things stand out to me for that. One, that sounds like a cry fest and you're just going to be crying every second because you're letting these people go on. And two, how big is this ship? Is this Noah's Ark or something? How you building a whole town and getting cows and them thing there on your ship?
Yeah. So you like as you progress through the game, you can get like ship upgrades. So you start out with this tiny little ship, and then like the more spirits you find and like resources and stuff, you can keep like upgrading your ship. And so there's actually like at the end you can have like however many cows you want, because you can like build your ship so huge.
I love it.
Yeah.
That sounds really dope.
It's a really good game.
I'm definitely gonna check that out. So I basically found out about you from a friend of mine, Matt, from the Burnout Brighter podcast, and I've watched your stuff and you're like highly entertaining.
Thank you.
What made you get into start streaming? Like what was the point of call that made you say, do you know what? I'm about this life. People need to see me play video games.
Yeah, it's such a weird question. There was like so many different aspects that went into it. Like partly, just like I was like, I love Counter-Strike, and I was like, I'm gonna play Counter-Strike anyway. You mean people are making money from playing Counter-Strike? Like, yeah, sure, I'll do that. And I wasn't like ever planning on keeping up with it. I was like, if I'm playing Counter-Strike, may as well. And then I was going through like a really bad breakup at the time that I started. And I had this like great community that was being super supportive to me. And I was just like, okay, like I get Twitch. There's so much more to this than just like playing games and like making money off of it. Like I loved it. And yeah, since day one, I've had like really awesome people behind me, and it just kind of like kept me going with it. So
I think that's the most important thing when it comes to Twitch, is building that community. And I think people who are outside of gaming literally think a lot of the people who game and stream and want to be seen by other people is just because people have a big ego and they want to loads of people watch them play. But really it's like a little family that you're building. Like almost everyone's stream that I jump into, because I don't stream myself, so anytime I jump into people's streams, I always see them interacting with recurring people who always coming back, and you build your own little bonds and get to the point where you know someone so well you make them become a mod for you and stuff like that. So yeah, building that community is so important.
Yeah, I agree. It's you can either have a good community or you can be really good at games and like not talk to your community.
yeah.
And I'm not really good at games, so
when you're like that, that's when the chat's just moving super fast and everyone's like, I hate you, you missed that shot, I hate you, you look like a cow.
Exactly.
So I want to ask you something. So you're obviously Canadian, you're original from Canada, and you've moved to Australia. How obviously you're a Twitch streamer now, so I'm assuming you get sent codes and games and stuff like that. But before you was getting sent all of that, how do you deal with the price difference? Because I know in Australia they have some mad tax on certain games. Like I know games are like $90 and those crazy stuff like that to buy games over there.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't remember the last game I've bought myself, which sounds really horrible, but it's the truth. People are so kind, and just like a lot of the time, if I wishlist a game, I'm like, well, I don't want to pay full price for this game. So I'll put on my wish list, and then when it goes on sale, I'll buy it. And then all of a sudden someone will buy it for me. And I'm like, I was going to get it, but yeah. So I think the last game I got was Animal Crossing for the Switch. And I think it was about the same price.
Okay.
Because it wasn't in Canada. Yeah. So wasn't bad.
That's surprising, especially it being a Nintendo game. I'm surprised they didn't slap on an extra $100 because
yeah. Imagine $200 for Animal Crossing.
So I was
insane.
I was listening to one of your podcasts, because you're a podcaster as well, so it must be weird being on the opposite side.
It is weird, yeah. In the hot seat.
Yeah, and I was listening to you talk about Animal Crossing, and Animal Crossing was took me by such surprise because I've never played an Animal Crossing before. And my friend Sunpie, she was just like, Midas, I want you to play this game. And I'm like, this is not me, fam. I'm not about this farming thing. Like, that is not about my life. But obviously COVID, being locked in a house, and then a game where you're able to basically be on a beach and stuff, like, it took me by surprise how addictive and how much I loved that game.
Yeah.
Like, was it something similar for you?
Yeah, I think it was so similar to so many people. Like because especially because you have like the daily stuff, you're like, well, I gotta get on and get like my messages in a bottle. Like, it kept people coming back to it. And yeah, I played a bit of the GameCube one when I was in like high school, but all I would do was like go and like talk to the villagers and be like, I don't get it. So yeah, I was pleasantly surprised with this one. I haven't played it for months, but I need to get back into it.
I was so on point that like I was on Twitter looking for like who had the best turnip prices. Like I'm in Facebook groups about turnip prices. I got my brethrens calling me up like, fam, what fruit you got on your island? What fruit you got on your island? Like it was so mad. Like it was an experience that I would just never expect. And wow, it couldn't have been at a better time, like to be able to just go onto a beach, even though it's fake and it's as cartoon as it is, but it almost gave that Disney-esque, like, when you watch a Disney film and it just takes you to a fantasy world. That's the feeling that I feel like
it's almost magical.
100% magical is the best way to put it. So
did you put sorry,
no, go on, carry on.
I was just gonna ask if you've played since the swimming came in.
I literally that's the last time I played when they did that update. That's the only thing with Animal Crossing. I just feel like Nintendo didn't put enough updates, and I think certain things, like when you're selling multiple items, just let me click multiple items and stuff.
Yes.
I don't know if you saw, there's a video that went viral that someone made a fake Nintendo Direct and all of the stuff that they want to be in Animal Crossing, but it was like all of the stuff that needed to be in there, and it was just like, why do Nintendo just not put this in?
Oh yeah, no, I didn't see that. I'll need to look it up.
so good. I'll send it over to you.
Yeah, sounds good.
You said to me, oh yeah, I like to play shooters. You was all humble. You was all nice with it. And you're not talking no little man shooters. You're not like saying, oh yeah, I played a little bit of COD, or I played a little Apex. You're talking CSGO, Counter-Strike, one of the most tactical shooters out there. Like, how did you even get into CSGO? Because that's not a game that people just drop into. It's not like a Call of Duty that everyone just jumps into at one point in their life. Like, how did you get into CSGO?
I've played CS since I was in like grade 7, since like CS 1.3 or 1.4 or something like that, and so I just grew up on it. My brother and I used to like love playing it, and we would like try to get on the same servers, and we'd like go to each other's computers and like write it down, and then he'd run back upstairs and like try to get on the same server as me. And so it like I grew up playing that, and then just kept going until CSGO. And yeah, I don't play it as much anymore. Rainbow Six Siege kind of took over my love of shooters, but yeah, so
you are about this life. I love it.
Yeah.
So as a big Rainbow Six fan, let me ask you a question. So I was watching Ubisoft's latest Ubisoft Forward. I really like the Ubisoft Forward shows, and they showed their new PvE mode where you basically go in and you're like battling like monsters and stuff like that. And I'm not a Rainbow Six guy like that, so I was really confused because I was like, is this what the community want? Because from everything that I know about Rainbow Six Siege players, they're all about PvE. They want to be the best. They want to go in, they want to dominate, they want to show that they got the sickest skills and they can take out everyone. And this just felt like a really, really random thing Ubisoft was doing. What was your initial reaction to it?
Yeah, I don't know. I I used to love Left 4 Dead, and it's like kind of Left 4 Dead-ish. So I was like, it would be nice to have a game that would kind of like fill the Left 4 Dead hole, because now no one plays that game anymore. But I think it wasn't something that people necessarily asked for, but I think they like put out kind of feelers. They like tried something a couple years ago for Halloween that was like PvE with these big like monsters, kind of like horror game kind of thing. And so I wonder if that was like a test for it. And then they were like, they took responses from that to make them like work out a new game. I don't know. I think a lot of people were kind of like, why though? But I'm excited for it. Give it a go.
Because I was hella confused, because I was like, is this meant to be for someone like me who doesn't play Siege and kind of bring in like newbies? But it just didn't. It the way they marketed it was like it was for the hardcore. So it kind of confused me, because I was like, is this what the hardcore want? Like, it was a bit weird. I think it might have even worked better if it was PvP versus E, so everyone was in the mix. Maybe that would have been like adding an extra challenge on top. That would
be cool.
I think that
maybe they'll add something like that. Who knows? They're pretty good. People might fight me for saying this, but I feel like they're pretty good at listening to what people want. So
they can't fight you. You're the queen of CSGO. Let them know you got them headshots. You'll take anyone down.
Maybe a few years ago. Now I'm sure I'm terrible, but
before I let you go, Mop, you've been obviously a Twitch streamer for a long time, and you love doing content. There's so many people out there that love gaming, and they watch people like you, and you inspire people to really want to get into this. What advice would you give someone who is a bit nervous, wants to get started, doesn't really know which angle to go? What kind of advice would you give to someone who would love to kind of emulate what you're doing? Not teeth your style or anything like that, but just obviously get into the same kind of domain.
Absolutely. On like as a Twitch streamer?
Yeah.
You mean? Yeah. I really think like for me, Twitch is all about being genuine. Like I'm so tired at the end of a stream, like being myself. So like I can't imagine putting on like a different personality kind of thing. Like I think I'd be so tired. So I think like just being yourself, you'll like find other like-minded individuals that'll kind of come together and group together and form the backbone of your community. But I think there's also lots of people that, you know, do well not exactly being themselves and putting on the show and all that. So I don't know, just find what works for you, because I always say there's someone for everyone. And just because like someone might not like my stream, they'll like other streams. And so
I love that. I think that line defines it all. Like that just sums it up so amazing. Mop, thank you so much for joining me on Too Many Games. Like I said, we're a short form podcast. I would have loved to speak to you for a lot longer. But where can the people find you if they're in love with your style, if they think everything you're saying is great and they want to be part of the Garden fam? Where can they find you?
Garden fam. Everything is just Mop Garden. All my socials, Twitch, all that good stuff. Yeah.
All that good stuff. And that's it. Thank you so much for staying to the end of the videos. You are the MVPs. I'm Mr. Midas. She's Mop Garden. And we out. Peace.